Hello, Benny.
Hey. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, Benny.
Sorry, Alex. Sorry, mate.
Hey.
You were continue, mate. You were selling half and converting, huh? Hello.
Yeah, that was only in the
he was
first
saying
week.
he pulled out. He pulled out all his LPs, and he's doing single site staking right now.
Actually, I spoke to a couple of people earlier today doing the exact same thing, and I said, "What's the?" Actually, it was yesterday, Pete, when I was saying someone said it was 640% on the. It was yesterday for a short period of time. It was 640% on the single side on VFOX, and they were saying that it was better for them to single side stake because they'd been compounding and carry the risk of impermanent loss because the market's going to go back up. But they bought what they thought was the bottom. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. So the thing is, everyone's saying that we're pulling our LPs out and do single site staking, right? However, the numbers show that only 1 million LPs came out. So we're still at 28 million LP tokens. I think yesterday or the day before staking was 29 million. So it's only 1 million LPs that went out. And I think, a big chunk of that was Grelix.
270.
Okay, 270. Okay, so one quarter of that is Grelix.
No,
You're still farming but not compounding, madame. That's interesting. You're still farming but not compounding. So you're just taking the VFOX profit, and then what do you do with that? You just sell it? Rejoin the farm after I saw the
most people stake single side after they harvest, Benny. So they just don't compound, but they just dump it on the single side.
Actually, I've been enlightened by a lot of people because I thought, I'm pretty well researched. I've been around the game for a long time, and I was schooled by a couple of people. They said to me, I saw that the correction was coming, and a couple of these people did say that, look, not me, that they said they saw the correction was coming. And what they said that they were doing was they were farming, compounding in that very beginning part. And then before the correction, they said that they took all of the VFOX that they had made and were making and converted back into RFOX and have been continually converting their VFOX back into RFOX, so that their position as far as value has not changed in this pullback because they've been able to earn enough new RFOX tokens to cover what they had through farming. And now they're saying, so if now the market moves back up again, imagine the position I'm going to be in. And I was like, damn, that's a good idea. Why didn't you tell everyone that earlier? But some of you are probably already doing that.
Yeah, but to do that, first things first, you need to know when the correction is coming. Like me, like an crypto noob that I am, didn't, right? So for me, I just stuck to one strategy and kept farming. I didn't care what the heck is going on. Just kept farming, kept compounding. What I do know for a fact is that my the amount of LP tokens is growing, and I think to a certain extent that also would mean that the amount of either the VFOX or RFOX would be growing as well. That's it. I'm okay with quote unquote impermanent loss because it's still 50-50, right? RFOX, VFOX. But again, that's just me. I mean, not financial advice.
That's a good point. And look at Vertican and said, well, from the farming, my dollar value is higher now than before the market crash. I've actually got quite a few people that are saying that. They were saying that, it's kind of a blessing because they're now able to accumulate at a low price what they wouldn't have had the cash to buy because they were already all in different cryptos. So, it's been an interesting journey. I think the most important thing for those who are holders of RFOX, because obviously we've seen a healthy pullback in the whole market. The two questions that I get asked, and I can't really mention these normally, but as you know, I just say what I mean and say what I think. There's two options, and I said it today on the AMA, and I've been asked it in a couple of the interviews, is what happens next? Now, we've seen 44, 43% pullbacks in 2017 were a couple of those, and we had lots of 20, 25% pullbacks along the way during 2017 in the last run-up. This one was like a 70%, which is a much, much bigger pullback than normal. But what people are saying is the market conditions have changed. There's been decoupling due to stablecoin introduction since the last bull run, and it's a different market. But one thing we did know, and we knew this in 2017 as well, is that every time there was one of these retraces, we looked for volumes. We looked for people coming in. We looked for new wallets. We looked for, and this is across the whole crypto market. I'm not talking about RFOX. We weren't around then. And that's what you'd look for. And what we did see was healthy volumes on that pullback. We saw an increase in wallets. I can tell you from RFOX, for example, we had the fastest wallet increase that we've seen in our history. New audiences were coming in. So I think, as I said before, what happened is a lot of people thought, hang on, my mates all got in, told me how much money they'd made in crypto. They were killing it, and I didn't want to be the sucker that bought at the top. Now that the market's come back a bit, it's come right back to 3-4 months ago's prices. Now I can get in and I can be like that particular person. But we know that every time there's a big pullback, there's one of two options. You either get a dead cat bounce or a sucker's rally, or you get or you continue to grind up and build momentum, and you've had that. The bigger the pullbacks in 2017 meant the more new money came in, and it gave it more impetus and more momentum. And we did see a ton of money come in. However, being two sides of the coin, I want to make sure I play devil's advocate as well. We also saw an increase in flash loan attacks and stuff across the weekend. And we did notice, I'd have to compare the stats and numbers, so just something to look at. We did notice that a lot of people, towards the end of the last cycle, there was a lot of these people trying to pull as much out of the market as they possibly could through hacks and attacks, and it increased towards the end of the cycle. So that's something to also take into consideration as well. Not financial advice, just words from a person who's been through all of this before several times. And I think that I personally, I'm looking very, very seriously at the market over the next couple of days. And if we do see that volume and healthy interest coming back in, then I think we, things are still largely intact and we can continue up for sure. But I'm looking. Does that make sense? Actually, one of the things that we brought up last Friday in our internal meeting is that some people don't actually understand a lot of stuff that's being said on these calls. They don't understand the jargon and the lingo and all the rest of it. So if you're new or you're shy or you've got a perfectly logical question, feel free to ask it. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Can you still hear me, Pete?
Yes, I can still hear you. But just don't ask when Pokemon. You're going to get a troll answer.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been asking.
Right on cue.
A lot of people have been asking me, what's going to happen? Are we done? Are we still going? And the thing is that I'll say the same thing as I said in 2017, and that is I'm still as confident now as I was at the beginning. One thing we know at the end of these cycles is it moves down, and it moves down fast, and it keeps moving down. That's why it's really important to see a period of money coming in, stabilization, and technically with a pullback this big, you would expect that we're going to have a lot of sideways movement for a couple of months. And if it is anything like 2017, what will happen is it'll give us, we'll get little increases, and then you'll get this dip, and it will pull back a lot of what's come in. So you might go up 35, 40, 50%, and then you'll get a 20% pullback, and you think, oh, here we go. And then it grinds away again, and then it goes up. And as long as it's creating higher highs, that's the most important thing. But what it does for us as a project is it's actually really good for us because it means that we've got several months to really sort of pull these last pieces that we need to pull together to have a couple of these major releases, and we can still time those. So we could have been actually handed a golden ticket here, which I'm very, very thankful for, to be honest, because a lot of what we're building is a lot harder than you would think.
And that said, the pullback also allowed some of my friends to jump in at a at a decent price. So these are the new wallets that are coming in. I mean, and they're going in specifically for RFOX because they heard it from me.
But that's the thing, Pete. In the last, like when the runs ended, you weren't getting all those new people coming in. So this is the different part. Like I've got more people right now asking me, is it a good time to invest in Bitcoin, or I missed my chance a few months back. Should I be getting in? I don't give them any advice. I don't say yes or no. I say the honest truth, and that is watch the market for the next 36 or 72 hours and have a look at what it does. Anyone who says they know for sure is full of crap. Besides from the fire legendary bird, will we also see an ice legendary bird and a lightning legendary bird in 3rd edition? Good question. Watched a friend who was getting into crypto before the dip, and he tried to judge the bottom, then bought after this last bounce back. Yeah, that's the thing, Ramses. There's a very famous meme that I won't share because it's very disgusting. And it's basically about people that pick bottoms. So how many RFOX are we going to burn today? Yeah, PJ, actually, it's not a huge amount. I would have liked it to have been a lot more, but obviously with the pullbacks, and there's some greedy little piggies, to be honest, which is a good thing. The pools have been topped up to such an extent, and this is why people said to us, "Why are you doing rapid coin allocation? Why don't you do the farming over like 10 years like everybody else?" We've already been through this a million times. The fact is it's providing a high yield rate. It's locking up tokens. It gives us the opportunity to get through to the next couple of releases, and the tokens are out in everybody's hands. No one can dump on anybody. There's no team allocation. There was no development allocation. It was all fair. And so we'll see the results of that for sure. But the burn rate is dictated by our percentage of the pool, PJ. And unfortunately, we started off with 100% of the pool, and I don't know what it is now, Pete, but I reckon we've probably only got 6 or 7% of the pool now, that initial LP. So
Nope. We only got 5%.
Wow. So
there are three wallets that are actually having a bigger pool size than us. So
yeah. So
we're not the top dog anymore, Benny.
Yeah, so that's because they've compounded as well, which is good, which is great. They're making money, but it just means less burn. So that's why we did hedge our bets, and we sort of thought, what happens if this does happen? So what we did was we also said, hey, we'll take a chunk of the proceeds of the land sale and we'll also burn those as well. Ultimately, if the single side staking rewards remain strong and more people go into the single sides, then that will increase our stake in that main pool. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to change whatever that percentage is, because we can't add to the original LP, because the original LP was done through the pre-mine. Based on what you've said, Benny, now and previously, I know land sales are delayed as more marketing needs to be done. So should we expect the vault release to also be delayed as it was originally earmarked for August? It is fair to assume that would be the case. So what we did was we literally just got off the phone to the designers before this, and multiple things will either cause this to delay, or we have several options, and I'm reluctant to talk about them because I don't want them to be seen as, hey, you said this or you said that. But we have multiple options, including staged release versus full throttle. And I'll tell you, and I can explain over the coming days and weeks what that means. But ultimately, we've got a couple of the bigger brands that are also asking to have very detailed shops made. So they want to see what it looks like, and they want to have a look at the different options. And we've been busy trying to finalise some of those marquee brands and the brands that go into the other stores. So I think these guys are very much all about the quality, because they want their big brands to be associated with something very amazing, rather than something that doesn't allow them enough time to prepare and timelines and all the rest of it as well, and also for our technology to be underwhelming. But the more momentum that we get, the more high caliber type of partners and people and companies will want to work with us as well. So that's the encouraging part. But ultimately speaking, we would have liked to have had the cashback and streaming app out. We would have liked to have had the game out by now, but the game's very, very close now. That's the one that's on the doorstep, as you know, because you've all seen. The cashback and streaming is the streaming platform is nowhere near as developed as we would have liked to do what we wanted to do. And now that there's this whole NFTs through streaming and stuff being demanded, and a massive opportunity, there's lots more development. And it's the same with the virtual space. We see what potentially can be done from a VR and AR perspective. We talked to some interesting firms during the week that can do some amazing stuff with AR now. So, if we can enhance it, make it better, then by all means we will. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to finalise, okay, how does that actually look? And then communicate that to you guys clearly. You assumed it would be delayed because people want enough time to build their own shops also. Yeah, madame. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the basic shops. And you remember, this is the thing. And the thing is, I make no bones about it, and no apologies really, because we're building something that hasn't been built before. And you can say, yes, metaverses have been built, but the way we're doing it and what we're focusing on is very different. We started off talking about cubes and floors and all the rest of it. And what we worked out once we started building the 3D models is that the 16 by 16 metre floor size shops makes the most sense and is the most practical. And what we've done, what we'll be able to do to make people be able to build quicker is provide those buildings and then provide a number of assets and personalization through color schemes and configuration, so that people could potentially make a lot of those changes themselves. If a client wants something like very specific, then it would require us to then build it out for them. So yes, they need time. They need time to be able to do that. And if you bought a store and you paid a lot of money for it, you'd probably want some customizations or stuff as well. So what we plan to do is offer multiple people to be able to help with that. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just go into a queue and take a ticket if you've got multiple firms that can actually help use the assets that we've got. And because we're using gaming engines, it's a lot easier than building with blockchain. So, yes. You mentioned on the Telegram that you're working on a login and payment system that can be implemented to all the different ventures and have is there any estimate on when this could be in place? Actually, that's going to be super soon. Pete, you can probably also add to this, but we're looking at a provider that can provide us with a solution that allows for a unified login, meaning that if you log into any RFOX, you can log into one RFOX portal, and then you're across all the ventures. And they also have the wallet integration. We can accept WAX, RFOX, a number of different cryptos. Pete, you can probably explain it a little bit better than me.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys are familiar with a single account that you can use across multiple platforms, right? So think Google ID, right? Where if you create a Google account, you could use it to access multiple different platforms. So we are going to leverage on top of that, but creating, underlying, we create your own RFOX profile. So example, Bertican can go in, log in with his Google ID or Apple ID or whatever ID you like, Facebook and whatnot, MetaMask, and then create a profile called Bertican. So when he logs in using that profile, it's Bertican on the RFOX ecosystem. It doesn't matter whether you log on onto CoxGG, onto the game, onto the virtual space, the cashback streaming app, the media, the various media, websites, and any of the ventures that we have coming soon. It's one single login, one single account. You can have your RFOX. If you link MetaMask, you can use that RFOX to purchase, across any ecosystem. So what we're building right now is a federated identity system, one single federated identity system that you can use across all our ventures and potentially other partner ventures, partners that decide to jump onto our platform. So, let's say example, if brand XYZ wants to, partner with us and then they accept the RFOX login, then they will just integrate our backend and then you log into their system using your RFOX login, which, is made easy by tying to your, kind of like Cloud Wallet, right? Let's log into your Google account and then you're in. You could use RFOX, you could use, whatever payment methods that we tie into that federated ID system.
And
hopefully
that's
explains that.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation.
And just because I'm saying we're creating an RFOX ID doesn't mean that you got to create, put in your email, put in your password, and then you'll remember all that stuff. We don't. We leverage the existing identity that we already have out there, right? And we're working with a partner to add more on top of it. Example, MetaMask. Because some people coming from we're in the crypto space, right? They may not have or they may not believe in a Google ID, an Apple ID, or Facebook ID. They want to log in with MetaMask. So you log in with MetaMask. The system picks up that you log in with MetaMask, and then prompts you, says, "Hey, would you like to assign a username to yourself?" And then you call yourself, pj-l.waw.wam, and boom, that's your profile name in the RFOX ecosystem.
Then you can add lots of different things to that. The thing is that
so obviously we are going to block off names like Bitcoin Benny, right? For obvious reasons, Pineapple Pete. But yes.
But the thing that's really important is that and some people have picked up on this, and it is frustrating. So I want to get rid of the elephant in the room as well. You don't build this type of stuff or go to these extremes or links if you're just trying to do one tiny little thing. You only do this if you're trying to build a proper ecosystem and you're trying to do, you're anticipating scale and growth at huge levels, and that's what we are doing. And I think that as some of these types of partnerships and brand relationships sort of get unveiled, people will realise how serious we are. But having said that, frustration does creep in, especially when price goes backwards and we see people in people that are over leveraged or emotional. We want answers and we want to know when this is coming and when this is coming. We just need to differentiate, because most people are actually asking what's going to drive the coin value up or the price up. They don't actually care about the marketing plans or the products or whatever. They care about the coin value.
Benny, sorry to interrupt you, Benny, but
yeah. Hello?
I'm muted, Pete. The other world.
Is that true? You did, or he just cut out?
No, I didn't do it. I would love to, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, what I was saying, maybe he was going to tell me don't say that, but we understand that there's a balance between token price and actual products and services. So we've started pretty detailed marketing campaigns into the regions that we're servicing, and those are starting to see traction. But crypto space won't see that for a couple of weeks or however long the laggard type of catch up is. But as far as products are concerned, I take full responsibility. I'm the CEO, fish rots from the head, and That's my responsibility. And I would love to have everything out right now. But as we made a decision a few months back, and we communicated this, that we wanted to do a number of things at the same time, because if we want a truly interoperable ecosystem, we have to make sure that all of these projects feed into each other. And the catalyst is the virtual space. And therefore, when you're building multiple things at one time with a team that's coming on and growing, obviously there's lots of complexity. So we want to make sure that we keep communicating what it is that we're building, but some of these things are dependent on the other things, and therefore we're moving as fast as we possibly can to get them done at quality. We're gone. In the beginning, we could put out anything and then just hope that it works or doesn't work and then sort of accelerate it. But now, when you're dealing with the type of people that we're going to be dealing with and the partners coming on, you have to produce quality, and it has to be high quality, and it has to continually be high quality. So we have to, we've had to up our game, and you're going to see that with a couple of the hires that we're just bringing on at the moment as well.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Pete.
Yeah. Anyways, I was saying, we just burned the burn transaction. I just posted a burn transaction.
Oh, great.
Is Benny still speaking? Because I can't hear Benny.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Pete, you're in charge
Let
of
me
the tech,
switch devices, I guess. Can't hear anything.
Jeez.
Yeah, Pete, your attempt to mute Benny was unsuccessful.
I've gone into the off-road VPN, Benny, that you can't touch and you can't hear. It's called Stealth Channel. Hero Gamer. People actually start playing inside the vault with full features. That's what we're working on. There's two options, as I was talking about before, Hero Gamer. That is that we release one of the cities and get it going and functioning and up and running, or we do it as a one whole thing. So that's what we're just working out the timeline for now. Sign up open to all countries. Yes, anybody can own a shop or participate for sure. It's very hard to complete sets at the moment since the staking window closed. There has basically been no action in the trade channel. Plus booster sales finish in a few days. Is there anything coming soon that might help to increase trade action? I'll leave that to the gaming people to answer on Friday's call, because that's not really my I'm not able to give you the right type of answer there. Would you be the pineapple across all? Change your profile to set it. One RedFOX ID to rule them all. Exactly. Everything getting sucked up into our planet doesn't help with the trading either. As you said at the beginning of the call earlier, Benny, if we've topped out of this market, then money exits very fast. This will be the same for all coins. However, the reality is that our books are incredibly illiquid. There are many holders here holding 7 figures plus of RFOX that won't be able to get out without massive movements in the spread. Added to this, the farming will be going for 4 more months now, and the pool's likely longer than this. This, while giving exposure, is also going to lead to constant sell pressure from people that have no interest in holding free coins. Sure, this is a worst-case scenario for the market, but we need to be aware of this. Having the option for investors is imperative. More importantly, how are we going to increase the liquidity in order to allow for bigger players to get in both the land sale and in general? Right now, we have no buy pressure because any large market buyers will smash the book, especially on the sectors. Ultimately, for the land sale to be a big success. Yep, so we're starting the marketing. As stated, we've already started on the lower levels of the social channels and banners and all the rest of it. And that campaign picks up with some pretty amazing ads. We've got proper Hollywood type productions with voiceovers and all the rest of it. But we have been talking to some of the people that want to come in relation to that. Some of them have been accumulating since the dip. We have seen, you'll see little pockets of buy action, and you'll see wallets that are definitely accumulating. It's not hard to see because it's all on chain. But ultimately, our goal is, as I stated before, is to activate one of the tier 1 exchanges as well, because that'll give us a lot more liquidity too. So that's still the goal. The goal and aim is to still try and activate one of those tier ones. When will the Vault law be released? That's a very good question, Ivory Eagle. So that's still being the LORE, the law, is still being or getting ready for release. But yeah, because there's been lots of questions in relation to what are the beams, how does that work, how does the Skytrains work, all of that type of stuff. So that's some of that's being finalised now. So we're very excited to be able to bring you that as we go. That's interesting, that elephant. Feels like editions could be closed a little stronger with a stronger push.
In case you guys didn't hear me earlier, the burn has happened. So
Woohoo!
that's on section. Yeah, 1.9 million RFOX, equivalent to 225,000 US dollars ish.
Not bad. Have we started hiring for RFOX Finance? What sort of expertise are you looking for to bring to fill this important role? We've started the hiring process, yes. We've been speaking to people predominantly with finance backgrounds because those people would be managing financial-based products, rollouts. As you would imagine, there's lots of things that you can potentially do, including like IDOs, launch pads, further token staking. So we had to go through all the legal side of things first to make sure what was possible. Then we started interviewing people, and we're through to second stage interviewing a couple of candidates. Those candidates are predominantly from financial backgrounds. That's obviously a big plus, but any type of product rollout in that type of industry sector would be something that we'd be interested in speaking to for sure. So definitely financial products or having managed financial products is very good. Quaaludes, is there a revised timeline? That's what we were talking about before. That's coming now. We're just locking that away. Yes, so PJ, in relation to the liquidity, because people always talk about that, they say, how come liquidity is low? Or you need more people trading it. It's pretty simple. But ultimately speaking, we're looking at also doing a deal at the moment that we're close to finalising, and that deal would be also allow us to solve all of our problems with payment rails, gateways, and all the rest of it, because since the beginning, we've said we don't really want to have to deal with that or touch that. So if this deal goes ahead, we will be in a situation where they've already got all of the APIs and everything, and we've talked about the fact that we want everything to course through RFOX. So you would be getting a constant flow of anything in through RFOX, in and out, which would be huge for liquidity, massive for liquidity. And this is not a matter of like it's a 1 in a million chance of coming off. This is a matter of we're targeting having this done by the middle of June. Worst case scenario at the end of June, but predominantly we really need it to go ahead middle of June. So the conversations have really kicked up a gear as of today. And this is part of a much larger deal for us. Have RedFOX made the final selection on who the marquees, or still vetting? Still vetting, madame. So I spend most of my day on the phone to these people trying to work out what traction they can bring, who they can bring. And they have questions as well, like what happens to my store? Because in the marquee stores, what we basically do is say that we're giving them a store, which is an NFT, and they can't do anything with that for a year. But after that, it's theirs. So they could potentially sell that to another brand or someone who wants to buy in. And then the 12 RFOX stores that we've got, we're allowed to rent those. We're not allowed to sell them. So we're talking to brands at different levels. And for example, we've talked from music to fashion to automotive. And we've got a couple that are really unique. And they're so unique, we don't know whether to put them into one of them is going to get its own little building or space because we didn't know whether to put it as a marquee brand or a free rent for RFOX. So what we did was I think we're just going to end up dedicating their own little section. It's such a cool contract for us. And today it took a turn for the better because the contract extended out to further things. And those further things involve a lot of very famous people. So that's very good. All right, I'm probably a little bit behind still, am I? No, just 2 minutes. Once the projects have gained exposure, the RFOX token doesn't have to have exposure. That's the entire point. Absolutely, PJ. So we're trying to work with, as I said, this one particular partner right now. Well, we're not trying to work. We are working with them. And this one particular partner has massive global exposure, fiat, credit cards, crypto, everything integrated. It's great exposure for us. And then it just really helps us because we did have lots of questions still over how do we make the RFOX work on the second layer. And when you're dealing with multiple chains and we've got tokens on BSC and ETH, and it's going to end up being on more chains. And then how does it course through RFOX? Which RFOX does it course through? How does that all transpire? And these guys have basically come along and said, yep, we know how to do all that. We've got it all organized. It's all set up. We can get it going for you in a couple of weeks. We're like, yes. Very, very cool news. Wow. Hero Gamer, very good question. Very good guess. If you were a small fish, would you bother having VFOX? That's a very good question. We've had this debate, and I want to knock people on the head sometimes, but I've got to mind my tongue and bite my tongue because we get some stupid questions sometimes and observations. But people were trying to work out what would the likely return be for holding one of these tokens, and they were saying it would have to do X revenue for you to get X, Y, Z back, and then blah, blah, blah. But the thing that you've got to take into consideration is most tokens don't give you anything as far as a return is concerned. This is something, and there is several examples like what was the one from Estonia called? Can anyone remember? It started with a T, not Tezos. It was something like that. Sounds like Tezos. Anyways, they had a token back in 2016 or 17, and they used to pay out dividends based on all their fees and all the rest of it. And they had a basket of goods and a basket of tokens, and if the token price went up, they paid it out. It never paid what the token was worth, but the value of the token was way more. Famous from what country? I can't say that. No, I can't say that because it's probably the only famous person from that country. Any update on the NFT marketplace or platform? Yep. So, McDaddy, I can tell you that the NFT platform was being built first and foremost for the COGS release. So that was our first client, which is an internal client, and the white labeling component is not ready. So the white labeling component, which is the one that we've got requests for and people waiting on, is not yet ready. So we've gone back and sort of said, how long will it take for the white label part to be done? And the estimates that we've had, I think, are around about, could be up to 2 months for it to get it to the point that we want it to be at. The actual platform itself, from a COGS perspective, will be ready quicker than that. But from the us being able to go to the public and sort of say, we've got a white label version that a big brand could use, it hasn't been set up or structured the right way for that to happen. And then even when it does happen, as we've stated, to build something like a Shopify, we did say since the beginning that would take multiple iterations before it's very grandma friendly. You can just click and anybody can spin it up. It'll take some customization and some work by the people using for at least multiple iterations. After this burning feature, can someone mute Hero Gamer? After this burning feature is over, will there be any events in future that could cause more RFOX to be burned? Yeah, so the land sale will cause more RFOX to be burned for sure, and we've got some other ideas as well, but I also want to bring in the RFOX Finance GM to work on that. Yeah, so Face, can you elaborate on the 8x4x4? The shop we've seen in fly-through looks bigger than 8x4. Sorry if it's been already. No, Face, we did say that a lot of this stuff is subject to change, and that's why we put caveats everywhere saying this is a demo, subject to change. It's all the rest of it. When we sat down and started doing the proper 3D modeling, we worked out that 16x16 makes a lot more sense, and it feels about right. The fly through that we did for the RFOX ad or fly through demo, that was 16x16. So that's roughly what the size of shops will be now. And we didn't really get to fully understand that until we sat down and started doing the proper modeling. Yes, Gralek, that's 100% correct. It is. And the thing is that people, I know you understand it, and a lot of people do, and it's just the nature of the business. People are here for a very short period of time and they want to turn a profit straight away. They want to flip and boom, gone. And they want to, I remember when I first started looking at tokens, I used to say, if I buy into this particular project and then they release this news and then I sell it, and then I can buy into this project's news, which is like a week later, then I can sell it and I can keep rolling that up. And then a delay happened in one of them and I was like, oh, my whole timeline's out of whack now. Now what am I supposed to do? Then I realized after a while.
Benny's like the OG DGen.
Yeah, I did. I used to sit down and schedule out, like, roll this into this, into this, into this. And then that's why I started making videos, because I sat there and sort of thought, hey, this doesn't really work. And the more I'm playing with stuff, the more I'm losing, or I'm not getting as much as I could have. So then I started that half at double. So I started selling half of my stack at double the price, and then I'd ride and I'd roll the dice for free. And then there was a few projects that I've come across, not many, but there's a few projects that I came across that I thought, hell, this one's going to take years to build out, but this could be an Amazon, could be a big one. And I just basically traded other tokens back in those days just to try and put more into those ones because I really believed in them. But I'd come from traditional stock market investing, and I was used to the longer term way. And this whole token adrenaline rush is like instant gains, massive profits. I'm going to be rich. So I learned very quickly to apply the same type of methodology to it. However, the difference between the token investing and the stock investing is that a lot of these teams that were building stuff went through a bull market and then just vanished. And they said, I've made more money than I could ever make in my entire life. Why the hell would I bother building anything out, or why the hell would I bother trying? So one of the really important prerequisites for us when we were setting up is trying to find people that we could either A, lock in, B, have been through this before. We didn't want it to be a situation where we go through a bit of a run and then everybody says, oh, I'm out, see you later, nice knowing you, because then we wouldn't be able to finish our vision. So we took a long time to try and find the right people. And so there are projects that I've seen that I've kept pumping into, and some of those have really disappointed me because they've had this exact same thing happen. And I think that a couple of people that have followed, like your name, what's Dan Larimer? I won't even finish that story. If you go back 10 years and mine 50 Bitcoin, would it be worth it? Any clues on the next farming pools on RFOX Finance? Ray, we've got multiple projects that are interested. What we're trying to work out, being very, very transparent, and again, I get myself in trouble for saying this stuff, is we want to make sure that we're not putting anybody at risk, or we're not liable, or we're not doing the wrong thing. So we've been checking with the lawyers to make sure what we can and cannot do. And we've got the projects ready to go. It's just a matter of, do we provide them a tool and they attach themselves, or do we provide that service for them? That was the kind of legal answers that we needed to get. But ultimately, there's 6 or 7 established projects that want to do, like if you do RFOX BNB pool or an RFOX BUSD pool, you can get their tokens. So sort of like the cake pools. And there's some single-sided staking that can be done as well. But there's also a number of projects that want to launch with us. And we're still a very big question mark next to that one, whether we want to go down that path or not, because then you have all this rubbish, who gets what allocation, and it wasn't fair, and they could be dodgy, you never know. Will third edition be sold on Fox.gg or Atomic Hub? Yuck. I'll let Pete and Fads answer that. Is it still worth to buy some second edition packs? Well, the thing is, Clemmy, you won't be able to get them soon. I was buying first edition because we never got any packs, and I was buying the first edition packs, and I couldn't stop opening them. Like, they're so damn irresistible. But I know people that have still got 10 or 15 first edition packs, and they bought them before second edition came out, and they bought some again at $500 a pack. And I was thinking, you guys are mental. But they're collectors, and they've been collectors for a long period of time, and they're saying that every time an edition ends, they buy whatever the biggest pack on the markets are, and they just sit on them. I don't know how they're those type of weird dudes that have Star Wars figures and stuff in their cupboards that they've never taken out of the boxes.
Benny, stop badmouthing me, please.
Hey?
I think you
You're
triggered
you
me
want
there.
Star Wars, box, unboxed stuff. Yeah, I got a bunch.
Yeah, Pete's that guy.
I would love that. I would love to be able to have the self-control to do that. What if you link the value of the NFT shops billboards to the VFOX token, then it's also backed with value, goodwill value? Think about it. Yeah, so Gralic, ultimately the VFOX token is backed by the fact that people get. There is some utility cases that we're looking at for that, so stay tuned for it. But obviously the main utility will be that there is revenue. But we also talk to a number of projects and launch pads and BSC pads and all those types of guys that were actually interested in doing some sort of like, if you hold that token or those tubes, you get certain. So we've told you this since the beginning. We're looking what we can give people that hold tubes, what we can give as far as access rights are concerned. So we're already talking to performers and stuff on how that could all work, and there's some pretty cool stuff coming up on that as well. Have you done planning any interviews? Oh, Quaaludes, I get asked to do interviews all the time. To be honest, I'm actually at a point now where I've done without it for the last 12 months or 18 months, and I've been pretty proud of myself for that. But I'm actually at the point now where I'm about to hire another PA, purely based on the fact that I can't keep up with it all. So I'll have someone planning that stuff from now on and vetting and going through it all. But I'm still happy to do interviews, and I'm still getting offered all the time. But a lot of them you do, and then the people never release them, or they start trading instead of concentrating on what they're supposed to be doing or whatever. And so I've got lots that are sitting unpublished. Will we still be getting a sneak peek of the streaming app? Yeah, I talked about this before. We'd had it set up with YouTube, and we've already got something that can be demoed. But we've obviously going down the path of a streaming platform ourselves was to remove it and put stuff in there. And then as you do, you start to make improvements to it, and you want it to look better. And then it needs much more development than you think. So, we'd built it to be connected to YouTube, and the only part that really wasn't done was the loyalty management type of system in the back end. And then that reward system for us is extremely important, because it plugs into our unified login, and it plugs into cashback and streaming, and it plugs into the virtual space. So we're already talking to some of the shops about saying, do you want to do like be part of the cashback and reward system that we'd implement, meaning you'd have to offer 7% cashback to the buyers. And then we do a 1% referral fee as well. So if you bring a person in, every single time they buy something, they'd get 7% cashback, and then you'd get 1% for having referred them. And that's for life. And that would be able to be spent in all participating stores in the virtual space, but in every streamer through the app. So we're in the recruitment phase for getting all of that set up and making sure that that all works as well. So we think that they all go pretty much hand in hand. So we want to make sure that they're all at the same time, and we understand that time's against us. We don't want to launch that too late. So there's a lot of stuff, and we've got more people coming on, like I said, and we'll be announcing who they are in the next couple of days. Are there marquee clients on? Yes, but the thing is, OJ, we can't actually we haven't finalised any list of all of them. The interest levels for the shops will exceed the amount of shops that we have. So what we'll do is we'll start rolling out one by one as we go. But we've also got a couple of interesting ones where the company's part of like a group and they own multiple brands, and they're trying to organise to see if they can get multiple stores or shops. So that's also made us go back and say, can we actually get a shop divided into sections so that you could have 3 different brands in the one shop? So we're trying to work out how to squish them into a limited space. I'll let them answer the gaming questions on Friday. You go 3 days. Will RFOX Finance eventually be some sort of bank in the virtual world? Yeah, so that's another thing we have been talking about. One thing I talked about a long time ago was having things that look like Coke machines around the virtual space that are effectively kiosks. And the reason that they're important for 2 reasons. For those who haven't heard it, you'll find it interesting. For 2 reasons, that can be a portal or a chance to sign up to exchanges or to do money transfers and changes, as well as also basic banking. So yes, that's something that we're looking at. Second thing is, we talk about digital inclusion, but how are the people in Vietnam and the Philippines and all the rest of it who might own small restaurants, how are they supposed to afford one of these big shops in the virtual space? So when we go to the local level, as we've said, we'd produce something that looks very similar to like a Coke machine. And instead of having a Coke can in there, in the old display, you'd have a little label, and that would be like a restaurant menu, and you click on that and it would bring up the whole screen to show the menu. You'd click on the items that you want, you'd do your little payment with your QR code or whatever, and then that meal would be delivered to your actual house. And that way these people actually have a very small shop or food court kiosk as part of a kind of a Coke machine. And that's a really cool way for people with more reduced budgets to be able to still get into the virtual space. But think of that Coke machine just like a food delivery app, like Food Panda or something like that.
Yeah. And guys, when Benny say Coke machine, he just means a drink vending machine. No relation to Coke whatsoever. For you guys who are thinking that Coke is going to be a marquee and all that kind of stuff, I know you guys are speculating the heck out of this.
Oh, yes, that's important. I mean, I probably drink more Coke Zero than anybody on the planet. But I reckon I'll probably drink 3 or 4.
Just think about it like a vending machine, right?
Yes.
We don't have to drop brand names and all that here. Sugarcane vending machine.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to. I wasn't trying to allude to Coke being a brand, because it's not. We haven't had any conversations with Coke. However, my brother was a senior manager and sales dude for them in Australia. So like a mall. Yes, it is like a mall. Any chance for us plebs less than 7 figures RFOX to be able to afford plots in a land sale? Ray, I would like to say yes. I mean, realistically, if you had less than 7 figures in RFOX and you were able to get in, I'd probably be very happy for you, but then I'd probably also say, geez, we probably didn't market that as well as we could have as well, because so I would say at the global level for the first one, I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so, but I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about because we haven't sold one yet. But at the local levels, I think that there would definitely still be an opportunity for sure in some capacity for sure. You mentioned VR and AR earlier. Is this something marquee clients want sooner rather than later? Yes. Actually, I've talked about this before, but I don't care who we do it with, but we've got a very big client who wants to do some sort of an event with us that would be high attraction and involve some sort of VR. But it's our idea, and I really think we can do it ourselves and we don't need them. Or we work with other clients and we sell some of the advertising space for that, because this is one of the coolest ideas you'll ever hear. It's and it's a great NFT project as well. Wouldn't be a COGS project, but it would be a RedFOX NFT project, and it would be very high caliber. People would get involved. Why would they do the Coke? Uber has a larger audience. Uber, I worked for Grab, mate, and that's like they're like fighting words. We were like pretty staunch competitors, but Grab obviously because we've got some pretty good affiliations with Grab, and we already know that we can get that going. We've already had the yes, so Grab will be a very important partner for us in the Southeast Asian region to boost our audiences for sure. Geez, I'm still on the Coke things. I think I'm 2 minutes behind. We're nearly out of time, huh? I drink Coke everywhere.
Yeah,
I love Coke Zero. Quaaludes, wow, Coke, Reebok, and Marvel. Well, one of those is probably not going to happen. Is the Vault going to be intensive on our computers? Other current virtual spaces struggle on my laptop. We want it to be for both, but we obviously build with mobiles in mind. You avoid deck drinking Coke. I tell you what, as soon as this, actually, I'll let you hear it. This is a famous sound we do for our Monday meetings. I love Coke Zero so much. It is fantastic. All right, what else have we got? A couple more questions before we go. Here you go. Best sound in the world. Icy cold Coke Zeros. Harry Potter. Actually, well, Uber is dead here. Yep.
You, Benny.
Okay. Is RFOX partner with where? Yes, we've got an affiliate agreement with Lazada, mate, but it's not. It's yeah, we've got an affiliate agreement with Lazada. Yes, and Brian used to. Brian was a co-founder of Zalora, so we've got that side of things covered, mate, as far as all of those affiliates and cashbacks and stuff like that's concerned. I'm not going to comment on that, Kleema. Will all the shop auctions start at the same time, or will they be staggered? That's what we're still deciding, Face. We're still deciding whether they'll be staggered. We've been looking at the different auction tools, as we stated, for a while now. So we will advise you based on the map. We're just pulling that together now. Good at getting words out of Benny, you are, aren't you? I'm banning you. You're not allowed to come back next week. Coke Zero and a bun me. I don't like the bloody pate they put on bun me's. I have to ask for no liver paste. I think that's a weird thing to put on a bread roll, liver paste. It's very weird. Pate is awesome. Come on, mate. That's a part of the thing you throw away. Where do you get your banh mi's? In Vietnam, mate. I live in Vietnam. They have pate on them. That's a staple ingredient. It's disgusting. No worries, guys. Thank you very much. Ocado, I don't even know who that is. Hook us up, Hero Gamer. I'll speak to them. Ever tried the vegan banh mi in the Trang? No, I haven't, mate. Online supermarket. Yep. People think Vegemite is shite too. Yeah, you have to eat Vegemite from when you're born. Otherwise, there's no chance to pick it up when you're old. There's no doubt about that, mate. It's an acquired taste. Yes, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Another couple of $100 grand down the gurgler burning. Let's see if we can, if the market keeps correcting itself a little bit, we'll burn a lot more than that next week. So have an awesome week ahead, guys. Thank you for joining in, and please take care, trade safe, and be safe.
Thanks, Benny. Appreciate it.
No worries, guys. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.